How you doing? Hello. Hey, Love Lake. How you doing? How you been? Hanging in there. That's good. That is good. Yeah. How's it out on YouTube Street? Quiet, or is it? Yeah. Y'all turn that light up. Onyx bark. Hush, Onyx. Don't like the quiet. So give it a little time to. Might just be us three. Quiet, quiet down there. You too strict. Guess you're drying up. Hey, Miss Burnett, how are you doing? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot today was a birthday. Hope she get her crab legs. Got your coffee? And you here? Okay. My TV, yeah. Yeah. Ready, babe. Got her coffee. She ready. Guess let it just quiet, quiet. Miss Burnett, I guess this will be your first time you get a chance to hear the reading, huh? Oh, put my glasses on. No wonder I couldn't see. There's 4 people in here. Okay. I'll go ahead and start. All right, we're reading from this book, Torch. Oh, dude. And these, I don't know if the same people in here or not. This book has 26 uh, ovarian cancer survivors. Some have passed away and others are still here. Hey, undeniably me, how you doing? Yeah, you're just in time. Just in time. Yeah, I was wondering if you was uh, coming in or not. I was trying to wait. So, okay. Let's start with the unexpected journey. My journey with ovarian cancer began nearly 4.5 years ago in November 2002. 5 months earlier, in May 2002, I decided to stop taking hormones because of the published cancer scares. About the same time, I noticed a gradual thickening around my middle, attributing this to the fact that I was probably just going to get fat. After no longer taking hormones, I put it out of my mind. In October, I started feeling a lot of discomfort in my upper abdomen, some sort of a full feeling. Sometimes when I sat down, I had trouble breathing and my stomach was getting more and more chubby. However, I was not feeling any pain. In late October 2002, I made an appointment with my family doctor who took one look at my bloated stomach and ordered a sonogram. Thankfully, because of his suspicions of ovarian cancer, he immediately ordered a CAT scan that confirmed that I did have ovarian cancer. Okay, um, I know of so many heartbreaking stories where family practice doctors misdiagnose women with ovarian cancer. This is where my journey started in the right direction. I was then sent to a oncologist, Dr. Bruce Fine, a most compassionate and thorough doctor. I will never forget that Friday afternoon in early November, a beautiful fall day in Texas. After Dr. Fine had a chance to look over my scan and read my CA 125 report, which indicated it was at 900. I asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, somebody's ice machine. Okay, let's see. Oh, lost my page. Okay, of which he indicated it was 900. I asked him on a scale of 1 to 10 how bad my cancer was. He answered a 10. I was diagnosed with stage 4. Jill, go sit down and be quiet. Okay. I was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. I felt my knees weaken. Feeling suddenly nauseated, I hung my head over the exam room toilet with Jack, my husband, holding on to me. I felt totally numb. How could this be when I had been feeling so good? The reality was hard to fathom. My husband asked if we could come back Monday. Dr. Fine, in no uncertain terms, told us to march across the street and check into Medical City. That was the longest walk of our 33 years of marriage. Within 5 days, I had 7 hours of surgery. It was followed by several days in intensive care on a ventilator and a 3-week stay in the hospital, including a Thanksgiving dinner. I was home in early December. A week after coming home, I started the usual regime of 6 rounds of carboplatin and toxin. My family and friends were simply amazing during this time. Friends cooked gourmet meals night after night and finished my Christmas shopping. One special friend even donated. Oh, okay. and finished my shopping. Okay, one special friend even decorated my house from top to bottom, while Jack and our two grown daughters decorated the tree. It was magnificent. My parents had arrived before my surgery and stayed through Christmas. I really was overwhelmed by all the love and kindness I felt that Christmas. It was the most meaningful Christmas I had ever had. My treatment was successful, and after 6 rounds of chemotherapy, my CT scan showed no visible sign of cancer. Dr. Fine had encouraged me to participate in a clinical trial at MD Anderson. For me to be accepted into the trial, I had to have a second look surgery to verify that I had no visible tumors. No tumors was found, just a few microscopic cells. Uh, hey, Doc and Lovely. So we were off to MD Anderson in Houston for the summer to continue my journey. The trial involved harvesting my stem cells, high-dose chemotherapy, followed by an autologous stem cell transplant. Dr. Fine felt the trial would give my cancer one more aggressive blow. The study was being run by Dr. Michelle Dante, a brilliant, compassionate young woman. I spent the summer in Houston and came home 2 days before our 34th wedding anniversary in early August 2003 to recuperate. Following my transplant, I had 3 wonderful years of remission. Jack and I took exciting trips and spent many special times with friends and family. Once I was feeling stronger, I decided to look into genetic testing. My mother had been diagnosed with stage 1. Oh, let me see. Did I lose my place? Oh, yeah. Mother had been diagnosed with stage 1 ovarian cancer in 1989. Not until I became sick did I possibly even think that I could have the BRCA, which is BRCA, the test for the gene for breast cancer. Okay, that puts you at high risk for ovarian and breast cancer. I did, in fact, test positive for the BRCA2 gene, as did my mother. Now my daughters had to make the decision of whether or not to be tested. They were both so brave and decided they wanted to know if they carried the gene. Paige, who was 32 at the time, tested negative. Brittany, who was 30, tested positive. It was such a difficult time for our family, but we all feel that knowledge is power, and we now have the knowledge. We need to make the best decisions for our future. Brittany and I go for mammograms and sonograms every 6 months, and Brittany goes for her CA-125 and a vaginal sonogram every 6 months. Paige is also more diligent and aware because of her family history. We are proud of both of them. About the same time, I read an article in the paper about how 2 people met. The girl was Lorna Williams. Lorna was an ovarian cancer survivor. Her husband's mother passed away with ovarian cancer, and that is what brought their 2 lives together. The article mentioned an ovarian cancer support group at Baylor that Laura was a part of. Up until then, I had never really thought I needed a support group. I had all the support I needed with family and friends. but something drew me to that group, a sort of sisterhood. I am so thankful that my journey has brought them to me. They have changed my life and enriched me in so many ways. Only my sisters can truly understand that once you are a diagnosis of cancer free, you are never really free from cancer. It is with you every day. This wonderful group of ladies is the bravest I know. I listen to them tell their stories every Monday and am amazed by their strength. We laugh, we cry, and we share information. I have been traveling with them through our journey for 3 years, and they hold a special place in my life. In July 2006, after 3 wonderful years of remission, my cancer returned. It was a 2 centimeter spot on my liver. Dr. Fine and Dr. Goggle performed surgery in August 2006, followed by 6 more treatments of carboplatin and toxin. My treatments have been over now for 2 months. I had a clear PET scan in January, so once again, I am in remission. I am feeling stronger every day. I am so excited about my new thick eyelashes and eyebrows and my fuzzy hair, even if it is gray. My husband has the sweetest way of kissing me on my head and rubbing the new sprouts of hair. He truly makes me feel that bald is beautiful. I feel very hopeful that I will have another long remission. As I look back on the last 4.5 years of this unexpected journey, the road has been difficult, but it has also changed my life in so many positive ways. I have been carried along on this journey by, by my wonderful family, my very special friends, and the love of and strong belief in God. And this story was by Debbie Sovereign. See if anybody, see who anybody came in new. Oh, uh, hello, Cisco. Uh, that- oh, I'm like, you driving okay? Oh, she left. Oh, she left. She'll be back. Okay. Hey, dark and lovely. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Okay, let me. The next story. I'm trying to get comfortable. Is the title of it is Bummer. Okay. Bummer was my comment to my husband upon learning my surgery revealed cancer. As I tried to awaken, surrounded by my husband, sons, and 2 friends, I was not totally surprised. An intravaginal sonogram had revealed an abnormal wall tumor on one ovary. Later, I would learn my omentum part of the bladder and microscopic abdominal cells were also affected. My recovery from surgery went well, and I felt great. As soon as I met with the oncologist, I said, let's get started with treatment. This would consist of 6 regimens of chemotherapy every 3 weeks. When I reached to when I reached when I reacted to Taxol, we switched to what is that? Taxuri and cisplatin. I admit I feared nausea as much as anything. When the doctor prescribed some very expensive anti-nausea pills, I think I decided I would not be sick, and I wasn't. After the second treatment, I decided I could tolerate my 2 dead days every 3 weeks. Since I was working and quite healthy, except for cancer, it seems, I worked during chemotherapy. One of my friends was battling breast cancer, so she informed me about the wonderful medicine available to combat nausea, what to expect during chemo, and about wigs. Her advice was to buy a wig before I lost my hair. The doctor said I would lose it in about 2 weeks after chemo started. Nancy said the scalp would tingle or sort of hurt. Sure enough, the hair started coming out one Monday morning as I showered and prepared to go to work. That evening, I had my husband to buy clippers and shave my head. It was a teary time. I always said my head did not have a pretty shape and found it absolutely true. I kept telling myself it would grow back, and I did have that wig. The doctor said it would grow back, but it might be gray. When I asked if it had to stay gray, he said no. That made my day. Helmets of hair, that's what wig designers make. There was so much hair in front, it reminded me of a bike helmet or a really bad Elvis wig. My goal was to find a wig that was close and cut. Be quiet. Go sit down. It, you see, I finally found one and paid extra to have it styled. I did not need that entire bundle of hair in front. Most people, including my son, either did not know or forgot I was wearing a wig. Perhaps I am just vain, or because I am a professional interior designer, I did not want to give cancer a face. With my wig, clothing, and makeup, I satisfied that for myself. Thus, I felt more normal or better. Working during chemo kept me focused on something other than cancer. I realized I was lucky. My energy level was pretty good. I started attending the ovarian cancer support group at Baylor while still recovering from surgery. I was afraid it would be depressing, but I could quit if I found that to be true. It has been an inspiration to me to see the courage, the hope, the prayers, and certainly the humor of these wonderful women. I felt a bit guilty because I thought I was stage 1. I did question that since I spoke for the National Ovarian Cancer Coalition and their slides indicated I was at least a stage 2. Fancy my surprise when I was denied some insurance because I was stage 3 and not 5 years out. I called my oncologist office to see what was going on. I was seeing one of the other doctors in the group since my original doctor was out on leave. Yep, stage 3. Boy, I certainly felt better when I thought I was a 1, that I was stage 1. It was rather like being newly diagnosed. Cancer is such a terrible disease. Far too often, ovarian cancer is not diagnosed until it is stage 3 or stage 4. I hear the horror stories of the ladies in my group about months of complaining to a doctor regarding the symptoms, which may be subtle and normal bloating, gas, and fatigue. My hope is that women will learn these subtle symptoms and will insist on further investigation by their doctor or another. It is up to all of us who have or will go through ovarian cancer to get the message out so those stats will become lower for late diagnosis. The diagnosis the diagnosis is a bummer, but there is hope. And this was written by Jeannie Swartz. Let's see, here we get it. Yeah, this one. Let's see, did I miss anybody that came in? Hey, Davin. Okay. This one is called 1 in 100. My husband had retired and had just gotten used to working out of his office at home when I got the news that I needed some routine hernia repair. The surgery became not so routine when they decided the elongated knot in my groin was too hard to be a hernia, and my CA 125 was elevated, which can indicate a tumor, cancer, or endo what is that? Endotrichemy, endio, something like that. I can't pronounce it, but I think y'all know what it is. That what is that? Endotrichmetrosis or something like that. Okay. On Monday, September 8th, 2003, the surgeon removed the knot and the nerve it was wrapped around, which would cause numbness in that area. That sounded pretty good to me since it had caused a lot of pain and some sleepless night due to the nerve being involved. Because of the elevated 125, the surgeon did a laparoscopic work and found that there was a cancerous tumor on the backside of the uterus going down to the colon. It appeared to be very aggressive. My husband asked, "You have caught it early." The surgeon said, the surgeon, who had become a dear friend, reluctantly said no, and his tone did not give us much hope. He referred me to a oncologist. The appointment was 10 days away. I asked to be called if there was any cancellation. They informed me that I was very fortunate to get in next week since the doctor's schedule was very full. I told them I appreciated what they were doing and then repeated my request. Sure enough, that afternoon I received a call. The doctor would see me the next day, which was Friday. In the space of about 3.5 years, my husband and I lost 7 family members and numerous dear friends. When I received the diagnosis, I had become resigned to the fact that it was probably now my time. But on Friday, I woke up with the realization that the Lord went to an awful lot of trouble for my cancer to be found, even at an advanced stage. He had even arranged for this oncologist to have an opening to see me. This gave me new hope, a hope that God would heal me. The oncologist was a gentle and thorough man who assured me he would do everything possible to treat this cancer. My husband showed him the pictures taken during the laparoscopic procedure. He asked the doctor to show him the cancer. The doctor said, "The white stuff." That was not too comforting because most of the pictures were the white stuff. More tests were scheduled for Sunday, since that was the first available date. He wanted to get my records from the previous lab work. The oncologist also expressed a sincere statement about how pleased he was that he had been able to see me so soon. My husband asked the doctor, "What is the outlook?" The doctor replied, "There are women who have been this sick and are out there walking around and cured. You concentrate on that." My husband said that was not too encouraging at the time, but he now feels it was the best advice he could have had. After the doctor completed his evaluation and informed me of all my options, I decided to go with his recommendation of three rounds of chemotherapy before surgery. We hoped the cancer would pull back and I would not have to have a bowel resection, which appeared to be inevitable uh, if we did the surgery first. If we did the surgery first, my husband went with me to look at wigs. It was a certainty I would need one sometime between the first and second treatment. Well, I looked at everything and could not decide on anything. My husband just calmly made the statement, "We are not leaving the store until you pick one." With this help, I did. I was so grateful I had it when all my hair came out. Just put that thing on, and if the body was willing, I was ready to face the world. In the waiting room, I had mixed emotions about my first chemotherapy that I would be receiving shortly. The Lord brought two special passages to my attention. The first one was Jeremiah 30 and 3 through 4. The Lord is speaking. I have I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with loving kindness. I will build you up again. The second was Jeremiah 31st chapter and 16th verse. Restrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work will be rewarded, declares the Lord. He is so faithful to bring us strength as we keep looking to Him. The first chemo was extremely painful for several days, but I took heart when the doctor explained that the chemotherapy might really be dealing with cancer, a crippling blow. That helped make the sleepless night more bearable. There were times my legs and feet and hands got so painful it was difficult to sleep, but lots of different pillows and odd positions would help sometimes. My oncologist had encouraged me to take part in a trial support group that he was involved with. I signed papers to attend this ovarian cancer support group. I would fill out some evaluation papers from time to time. I was afraid I was not going to be able to handle it. I thought it might make me depressed. My doctor assured me that if at any time I felt it was hurting me, I should stop. If he thought it was having an adverse effect on me, he would pull me out. What a blessing in disguise this group was and still is. All those questions you were afraid to ask or thought your friends wouldn't understand could be shared. Experts were brought in so we might ask questions. There are things you don't want to burden your friends and family with, but you realize other ovarian cancer patients are going through the same thing. What a blessing these women have been in my life. They are wonderful friends and exceptional ladies. After 3 rounds of chemo, I had my surgery. Now we would find out how well the cancer responded to the treatment. The wait was worth it. The chemo had been effective. The hysterectomy was done, the tumor removed, and a few other things deemed necessary. And of course, the debunking. Just think, a few months ago, I had no idea what debunking was. The surgeon was extremely pleased and shared with my husband how fortunate I was. 1 in 100. He said, I then had 3 more rounds of chemotherapy. During all this time of treatment, my church, friends, neighbors, family, cancer survivors, support group members, and countless people I don't even know have been faithful to pray and encourage me in many ways. One day, a friend sent me a note of encouragement and included the following quotes from Psalms 94:19 verse. When doubt fills my mind, when my heart is in turmoil, quiet me and give me renewed hope and cheer. What a blessing. Because of the turmoil of my mind, I often prayed for clarity and peace of mind. During my diagnosis and treatment, I was trying to be there for a dear friend who had no family. With a few other friends, we were trying to be there for her during her battle with cancer. I have learned many things on this journey. One thing in particular is there is no coping formula that fits everyone. Some of us may stay as active as we possibly can to feel normal, while there are times that doing nothing is the perfect solution. Family and friends may tell you that you are doing too much. Listen to their counsel, but do what you must to maintain a positive attitude. They aren't walking in your shoes. I crammed many days with things I felt I had to do, and when I made it to my front door, it was all I could do to get to the sofa and collapse. Some of us feel the need to take advantage of some complementary nutrition, treatment, and therapies. If it does not interfere with your treatment, only you can say if it is right for you. Tai Chi has helped me with balance problems caused by neuropathy. Years years earlier in my life, I found a need to remind myself daily how good the Lord has been to me and how grateful I was for His tender loving care. I realized there had been countless blessings I had received. I would thank God at the time, but then almost forget the event had ever happened. I started recording at least 5 things a day that I was truly grateful for. This journal became quite a blessing during this new challenge in my life. It made me take note that I still had much to be grateful for. The lab technician who got the vein on the first try, the chemo nurse who helped me handle each new side effect. Hey, hush! The soft bed I had to lie on, the doctor and his caring words and thoughtful encouragement, the Lord using those He had gifted with special talents and abilities to minister to His children in need. One journal entry says, am so grateful for the many people who have sent cards and are praying for me. Lord, thank you for these brothers and sisters in Christ who are bringing my need of healing before you. What a blessing. Another entry. God, please bless those who pray for me and may see your mighty hand at work in their lives. Earliest in my life, I had made a vow to the Lord that I would spend at least 5 minutes in His Word each day. There were days my husband read to me from the Bible because I was so weak, and he knew how important the commitment was to me. This became a very special time we continued to share. Yes, I am grateful for another what is that? I'm grateful for another of life's experiences and for the powerful prayer warriors that helped me face it. And this was written by Bobby Sewell. And Bobby, I think is still alive. All right, let's see. That was 3. I don't want to bore y'all. Did Rudy baby make it back in time? Or is she still out? Oh, she said, oh, she had to go get her kids something to eat. Okay. All righty. Well, let's see, how many did I read? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, that was 3. That was 3. Unless y'all want me to read another one, it's up to y'all. Y'all can let me know if y'all want to hear another one, or y'all. Well, was 3 enough? Any question? Y'all still here? Anybody? Or did I put y'all to sleep? Listen. Oh, okay. Talking look is at work, so okay. And Rita had to go fix some kids something to eat. Alrighty. Diamond, you still here? Love Blake? I ain't heard from nobody. I hope y'all y'all not y'all not emotional from these stories. They are emotional. Okay. Well, nobody said anything, so I'm gonna read another one whether somebody's in here or not. Undeniable me. She's driving, so she may hear. I got work and had to do my paperwork. I'm still here. They are emotional. Yeah, they are. They are. Okay, let's see. I'll read another for anybody that's still in. I get to started reading these and it's hard to stop. This one is called Routine Will Never Be the Same. Let me okay. The name of this is Routine Will Never Be the Same. I'm trying to get that light off. I went in for a routine vaginal hysterectomy with bladder repairs. What a surprise. When I woke, I had stage 3C epithelial carcinoma, ovarian cancer. Ooh, that's a lot. Dr. Michael Carley, my surgeon, called Dr. Alan Stringer, my soon-to-be oncologist. Dr. Stringer told him all the things that needed to be sent to pathology. While I was in the hospital, they did a CAT scan, CT scan, okay. My new oncologist decided he would need to go back in to check for any other new, no, any other organ involvement. I had surgery twice in 3 weeks. Then 24 hours out of the hospital, I was back in with a blocked colon. 5 days of nothing by mouth. 2 weeks later, I started chemo. My second chemo had some unusual side effects. I had a little too much Benadryl and steroids. I wanted to paint a couple of rooms, but I paced myself most of the time. With the help of drugs, I used 1.5 gallons of paint in one day. Of course, it took several days to get over being tired. Everyone in the family had offered to buy the Benadryl if I will come help paint their house. After chemo, they did a PET scan, and there were still cancer cells in the lymph nodes on my spine. They hit me with 6 weeks and 2 days of radiation. That wasn't the best time of my life, but I managed. I have not had a reoccurrence, so they must have done the right thing. My children's father had a heart attack and died when they were all teenagers except the baby. She was only 6. Needless to say, my children were scared when I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. But as we all do in a crisis, they rallied around me. They all decided on the job they would do to keep me free of stress. My son and oldest daughter went with me to every chemo treatment. One daughter kept my poodles. Another ran errands when I needed a trip to the pharmacy or McDonald's. They were all at the hospital when I was having surgery or problems. How blessed I am. My second husband and I have been married for 20 years. We both had grown children when we married. He has 1 daughter and 2 grandchildren. I, on the other hand, have 3 daughters and 1 son. I have 16 grandchildren at last count. Yes, he was always there when I was sick, but we always let him leave before he became too stressed. Turn it down, Kato. However, he did become able to stay with me until they called me for chemo. That was much better than letting me out at the door for my blood work. He did fine and fed me anything I wanted. Now I can't fuss about that. We always worry about reoccurrence. While I was being watchful, I noticed my little poodle kept smelling around my breast. Of course, I was concerned until one day, as my dog was checking me out, I found a spot of spaghetti sauce on my shirt. So much for her worrying about my health. She was much more excited about my lunch menu. The support group in Dallas has been one of the biggest blessings in my life. Sometimes it is heartbreaking, but all of the joys of knowing such wonderful people are more important. We cheer when someone has a good report. We understand and support each other as only someone with the same fate could do. We are members we are members of a group that none of us ever suspected we would join. It is amazing that we come together as sisters. My husband and I are both 65 this year. I retired in October 2003 before my surgery in May 2004. I didn't know I was sick. We moved to our retirement home 2 years ago. We have a beautiful yard with so many beautiful trees. I love to work outside and have learned to have a green thumb. This is a quiet place just out of Mineola, Texas. It is very restful. It is very restful area. We think it is the perfect place to watch the birds and squirrels enjoy our bird feeders. In my young years, I was a foster parent. I have had 65 foster children. Most were infants. They always left with pictures of special days and milestones. My baby girl is one who never left. We brought her home from the hospital when she was only 4 days old. We finally adopted her when she was 15 months old. After all the legal work was finished, I love to build doll houses when I have time. I have one started now, but if we don't have a cold winter, I may never finish the thing. I think it will take I think I will take up quilting if the winter lasts long enough. I was the youngest child and the only girl in my family. My three boys were a lot older than I. My three brothers were a lot older than I. Need I say, I have always been a tomboy. I developed a keen sense of humor. I suppose it was a survival technique. My family was involved in a very bad accident, auto accident 38 years ago. No one thought I had much of a chance of survival. However, God has given me 38 years longer than anyone ever thought I would have. I faced death head on, and it forever changed my life. Many doors were opened for me to help when friends or family face life-threatening crises. There have been infants with cancer. Been two infants with cancer. I am so thankful for all the blessings. Most of all, I got to raise my children. I will deal with what comes and still be more thankful for the last 38 years than I could ever grieve about the years I may lose. And this is by Beth Robinson. Beth is still alive and kicking. So let's see. Okay, all right. I may keep reading, and if anybody here, it says 3 people. So let me turn this. Try to turn the volume down for the ringtone before somebody call me. I can't ever remember that. Yeah, Love Blake, I was trying to turn my um volume. Well, for the ringtone. I mean, oh, there you go. I didn't get to turn it down, but y'all still there? You still here, Love Blake? Oh, okay, Portuguese is listening. All right, well, thank you, thank you. I enjoyed when y'all listen to it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This one is called New Beginnings. In the spring of 1999, I was working very hard. I worked at an insurance company in the payroll department. I began to have severe abdominal pain. I made repeated visits to the gynecologist. There were vaginal bleeding and a lot of cramping. I was I was told a biopsy was not possible. My doctor did continue to prescribe hormones. A CA 125 was not done because it was too costly. I had the symptoms of ovarian cancer, but was told that I looked too good to have it. The symptoms persisted until it was clearly time to do a DNC. The initial report, everything is fine. 2 weeks later, I got a call saying, the cells are changing as we speak. You need to come in. I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer that had spread to my uterus. In fact, there was a tumor the size of a grapefruit. A fibroid in the uterus was found along with an infection. During the surgery, Dr. Alan Stringer, an outstanding oncologist, came in and completed the surgery. He said, you can get through this. The plan was to do six chemotherapy treatments followed by a scan and then wait 3 months. I actually went every 3 months for 5 years and then was released to a gynecologist to monitor me. I enjoyed a 7.5 year remission. I was at my daughter's for Christmas in 2005. I was having a lot of abdominal pain. My primary care physician sent me back to the gynecologist for a pap smear and an exam. A scan revealed a smooth tumor on the colon, possibly colon cancer. Surgery was done removing 3 inches of my small intestine and 3 inches of my colon. The tumor had been attached to the colon. At first, I was told that this was a different type of cancer. Yes, it was ovarian, but it had been given to me by my mother at birth. Congenital. A duct had been properly shut off. That was 3 weeks later, I went back into Dr. Stringer. He said, this is not a different type of ovarian cancer. June. Okay. It is the same thing. It hit me like a ton of bricks. One of the things I have appreciated most about Dr. Stringer in his ability to and desire to individualize treatment. For example, I couldn't do platinum drugs because of an allergic or allergy. So he tweaked it. When I first went in and was diagnosed, my CA 125 was 87. Now, 8 years later, it's 12. In fact, on March the 1st, 2007, I went in to Dr. Stringer. My treatment was finished. There are there are the most beautiful words you can hear after an experience like this. You are cancer free. I see no evidence of cancer anywhere in your body. I'll see you in 3 months. You think I'll be dancing in the street. I have to tell you, there, there are anxious feelings for me now. I realize I am no longer on chemotherapy. In other words, I have no safety net. There are no medications to take that would ensure the cancer would not come back. I look back at the summer of 2000. My husband died of emphysema, my brother died of colon cancer, and my niece had inflammatory breast cancer. Grief work is hard work. I had a wrap I had to wrap my head around being a widow. Anger is hard work as well. I remember being so angry during this time that I yelled out at God, Dear God, I have not done everything I wanted to do. I finished up my outburst by beating on the vanity in the bathroom. I actually believe I had done all that I wanted to do. My children live in Louisiana. They want me to move to be close to them. I have made a life here. I attend ovarian cancer support group when I can. I have a paraplegic man living next door to me. I cook for him twice a week. Helping him actually lifts me. It makes me feel good to know that even with cancer, I can still be helpful. The worst part of this journey for me has been the reaction I had to the chemotherapy drug. One of the best things about this experience is I have found out I am tougher and stronger than I thought I was. I had to reach deep inside, grab onto the toughest part, and hold on. I didn't worry so much the first time, but am aware to the, I am concerned this time. No safety net. I am a positive thinker. A positive outlook on life for me is a lifestyle. I shed negative thoughts. One of the nicest things happened to me after I heard cancer free. I went to the door and there was a delivery man. He had a large, beautiful floral arrangement in his hands. These are for you, he said. I couldn't wait to open the card to see who had sent them. My daughter, of course. The card read, For new beginnings. I do feel like this is a new beginning for me. It has been a long, hard struggle. I now want to enjoy my daughters and my grandchildren. I am so grateful for this opportunity I have been given. I intend to make the most of it. And this story was by June Orr. Okay. Cheryl Williams. Hey, how you doing? Glad to see you. Y'all still awake? Okay. I'll read this one. This one is called Who's in Control? Not Me. Get some to drink in my mouth dry. Okay. Who's in control? Not me. Work hard. Work hard in high school, get into a good college. Do well in college, get a good job. Those were some of the lessons about achievement my parents taught me in the 1950s and 60s when I was growing up in the Midwest. They worked. They worked for me. I did well in high school, into a competitive women's college, graduated with honors, landed a job in the management training program of a large bank in Boston, kept my nose to the grindstone, and rose into the formerly all-male ranks of management in the bank. Later, I started and ran a small landscape design business in Dallas. I managed to find a comfortable balance between work and family. I continue to believe in the practice, naturally consequences in other parts of my life. I believe that if you ate 7 servings of fruit and vegetables daily, cut down on meat and saturated fat, took vitamin supplements, exercised 5 days a week, didn't smoke, and drink moderately, you would stay healthy. I followed the rules. I was healthy. I was in control. It worked for me at least for 56 years, 11 months, and 15 days. October 15, 2004 was the day I received the call from my gastro doctor telling me that there were some unexpected findings on a follow-up abdominal sonogram. The radiologist suspected that I had late-stage ovarian cancer. That call came in on my cell phone as I was driving home from lunch with a close friend. The friend whom I had just told that I was feeling terrific. It's difficult to describe the shock that followed. Fortunately, I was almost home. I drove home in a daze, heart pounding. I debated whether to call my husband Tom at work or just wait until he came home that evening. My rational self said, wait. And before I even realized, my irrational, needy self was dialing his office number. Always a he sensed the urgency in my voice and drove home immediately. That was the blackest day of the blackest week of our lives. Even then, it was clear to us that life as we had known it had ended. There would be the life before October 15 and the life after October 15. Even though we were right, we had no way of knowing how profound the change would be. At that point, we both assumed that much of the change would be negative. From the depth of that hole, it was hard to see the light that had illuminated my path, our path. Since then, it was also impossible to know how much my life and my approach to life would change. One thing was certain, though, I was no longer in control. On October 16th, I went into hyperdrive to accomplish several tasks that suddenly seemed urgent. I needed to take control of something. I called a friend who is an estate attorney. It was time to redo our wills, estate plan, power of attorneys, etc. Something that had been sitting on my desk for months. In a few short days, she walked us through all sorts of difficult decisions, and we had a complete tailor-made plan in place. Check that off the list. I started making notes about what form my memorial service should take. I made a to-do list of things I had to accomplish before I died, including organizing the photographs that are stuffed in boxes and drawers. I called a friend, a professional photographer, and asked her if she had time to come to our house and shoot some pictures of Tom and me. I didn't share with her the reason that I knew that I would never look the same again, and I wanted to record us as we looked before chemotherapy took my hair and who knows what else. She unexpectedly had a cancellation for the next day and came immediately. No questions asked. I love to look at those pictures, except that I see a glimmer of terror and sadness in Tom's eyes. I managed to fake a better smile. On the medical front, we were fortunate to have a friend and neighbor who is a prominent oncologist in Dallas. He paved the way for more tests to be done to confirm the suspected diagnosis. He got me in to see Dr. Alan Stringer, a highly respected oncologist at Baylor Medical Center. Dr. Stringer was on vacation. He was on vacation in New York the week of October the 15th. So I had to wait a week to see him. In the meantime, our friends suggested we follow through with our plans to go to Parents' Weekend at our younger son's college. He said that it would do us good to be distracted since there was nothing we could do until we saw Dr. Stringer. The black veil lifted a bit as we packed and made plans to go. We called our oldest son in New York and asked him to join us in Providence for part of the weekend. We intended to tell both of them the news. As the weekend unfolded, we didn't find an opportune time to tell them. The restaurant where we had dinner was too small. Other people could overhear. Our hotel room allowed no place for anyone to escape to process the news alone. Besides, on the television that night, our beloved Red Sox, after beating the hated Yankees, were winning a World Series game. How could we spoil that? Our oldest son left to return to New York. Tom and I were beset with guilt about not telling the news in person. Had we abdicated our responsibility as parents? Were we such chickens? Looking back now, I realize that that was the beginning of our listening more to our hearts than our heads. Something completely foreign to us achievers with fixed ideals. Maybe there really isn't one way to do things. Also, that weekend, two other important themes began to emerge. The first was the value, even the necessity of escaping from reality. Tom and I had been socialized and educated to face things directly, not to sugarcoat things, to discover face it head on, and then figure out how to solve it. Well, solving this problem was beyond us. We were in uncharted territory, and it felt so good to pretend that nothing had changed, that we hadn't heard those dreaded words. At that parents' weekend, no one else knew what we were facing. It felt good to forget. We were stepping over the virtual la la land for the first time, and we liked what we saw. We could laugh. Sometimes we could even forget. The second thing we began to discover that weekend was that I wanted, no, needed to be clear, to be near the ocean. At that time, my mother died almost 15 years earlier. I had walked to the beach near her home in northern in northern Florida. Hey, go sit down. Okay. I found comfort and solace in the rhythm of the waves and the amniotic saltiness of the water. Now that I faced a life-threatening illness, it was the place that I would find universal truth and comfort, a place that seemed eternal, a, a place that God and nature embraced me. We followed that theme to its logical conclusion. 18 months later, when we bought a little house by the ocean in New England, buying that house had been on our list of things to do in the future. But it suddenly seemed crucial. It's La La Land headquarters, the place where cancer is the stranger. What a gift that escape is. The next chapter starts when we saw Dr. Stringer and got a more complete explanation, excuse me, of the test findings and the treatment plan. The clouds began to lift. Someone was in charge, but it wasn't us. But we did have a plan. Calling our boards on the telephone to share the news seemed less difficult because we could also share the plan that Dr. Stringer laid out. 3 rounds of Toxel and carboplatin to shrink the tumors, debulking surgery, then 3 to 5 more rounds of chemo. Our inner voices, the ones we questioned, had been right. Even though we had to tell them long distance, we could generally put a more positive spin on the news. There was hope, and we were going to do everything medically possible to get rid of this cancer. After a successful debulking surgery and 8 rounds of carbotaxel, I went into remission. My CA 125 steady at 8. Dr. Stringer explained what I knew already from my reading. The odds was very high that the cancer would reoccur. I wish now that I had enjoyed my 8 months remission more. Unless you've been there, it's difficult to explain that not being treated is more difficult psychologically than having chemotherapy. The specter of reoccurrence was like an axe over the head, and there wasn't any drugs patrolling the front lines. I was just waiting for that axe to fall, and fall it did. On January 15, 2006, when my CA 125 was measured at 250. More alarming was the fact that a second CA 125 test the next day showed a 25-point jump in just one day. Recurrence another dreaded word. But the terrible blackness didn't descend on us this time. We were more prepared for this news. Dr. Stringer pulled out all the gem, gemcitabine and cyplaxin for 7 months. My CA 125 dropped steadily, but my bone marrow took a serious hit. My chemo had to be postponed multiple times because my neural fields were dangerously low. A few times my platelets dropped too low, too. I found the emotional whipsaw of certain no no no. I found the emotional whipsaw of concern about low counts, multiple postponements of chemotherapy, and rescheduling my still busy life very difficult. My life was so out of control that I didn't know what was going to happen from day to day. For a type A person who likes a schedule, that was a rough time. When my CA 125 leveled off, we tried Doxa for 3 months, but it never worked at all. Suddenly, we were running out of treatment options. I had been heavily treated and was platinum resistant, and we had to regroup. As he had done all along, generous Dr. Stringer called on me to be part of the treatment team. He said that he wanted to research some options and suggested that I do the same. We would meet again in a week and share our findings. Talk about hyperdrive. I worked at warp speed. I called some friends of friends with ovarian cancer to solicit their suggestions. I telephoned a couple of gynecology oncologists in other parts of the country to pick their brains. I surfed the internet for clinical trials and papers on treatment of recurrent ovarian cancer. Armed with a mound of printout and notes, we met again with Dr. Stringer. I had found a protocol that was being studied in clinical trials and separate studies, and it seemed promising. In the maze of information I had unearthed, it seemed to stand out as a possibility. I can't say exactly why, but it was as if it had a little extra light shining on the page. Ironically, Dr. Stringer knew one of the researchers studying Avastin and Taxol and called him. He urged us to try it off label since I didn't qualify for a clinical trial. So far, this combination of drugs has brought my CA 125 down from 400. I can tell that the cancer is in retreat. Little twinges around my liver and bladder have gone away. The CT scan shows that some of my diseased lymph nodes are shrinking. I have lost the illusion of being in control, that if you're a good girl, you'll stay healthy, and that life is fair. But I haven't lost the benefit of some of the early mechanisms I used to stay healthy and to achieve in academics and career. My educational and professional training couldn't prevent the cancer, but my ability to research a problem became invaluable as I waded through rams of treatment options, clinical trials results, etc. I tend to be insatiable when I go into research mode, losing track of time. So I do it in fits and start as my situation changes. I have made peace with having cancer in my body, a concept that was completely inconceivable. To me, BOC, which is before ovarian cancer, we can coexist as long as it's not growing or impinging on any vital organs. It was my yoga teacher who urged me to, at the beginning, to banish any warlike or aggressive metaphors from my speech and thoughts. He urged me to welcome wellness rather than wage a battle. I've learned to visualize my beloved ocean waves cleansing my abdomen, filling it with a healthy glow and carrying away the lavishing cancer cells. In welcoming wellness, I have embraced and benefited enormously from acupuncture, Chinese medicine, and homeopathic. Acupuncture has kept the nausea under control, okay, got rid of it completely, and enhanced the energy flow through my body. I have practiced visualization, meditation, and QI Gong in addition to yoga. I believe strongly that there is a vital link between the mind, the spirit, and the body, and that we can harness healing energies for ourselves. But being more active than, what is that? Sedent, sedentary, something by nature. I still struggle every day to wall off the quiet time that all these activities require. I couldn't control the fact that my immune system missed destroying that first cancer cell, but I can help my body cope with the cancer and the treatments. I believe that my well balanced, veggie rich diet and regular exercise have helped me weather the assault of the chemo drugs. I have continued my exercise routine religiously, low impact aerobics, weights, and core work on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and yoga on Tuesday and Thursday. There have been days when I operated on sheer determination, when I had little energy and enthusiasm for moving. But I believe that the oxygenation and heat generated by regular exercise have helped keep the cancer in control and have given me a near normal amount of energy. In addition, the endorphins produced in exercising have helped keep me depression free and optimistic most of the time. Fortunately, I have been blessed with a strong body, lots of energy, and generally upbeat attitude. During this journey, the past 2.5 years, all those reserves have been rested, but I have been blessed to be able to maintain a fairly normal lifestyle. I appreciate the gift of each day like never before. I can't wait to turn 60, a birthday I wasn't sure I'd ever see. I smile more than ever and love life, but that doesn't mean that I haven't had dark days. The first week after diagnosis was a tear soaked hell. Last October was difficult because my basket of chemotherapy options had emptied out. It's very scary to think that there's no treatment in reserve in case the current one stops working. I've made peace with the concept that I may be in chemotherapy the rest of my life. I'm at 39 infusions and counting. I can do this, and cancer can't take away my spirit. I can't say that I'm glad I got cancer, but I am constantly aware of all the blessings that have been showered upon me because of it. When one gives up trying to control everything, other things are able to come into focus. Angels, for instance. Looking back on the last 2.5 years, I am awestruck by the way friends and strangers drew near, offering gifts that I didn't even know I needed. There was the yoga teacher offering his gentle wisdom about the body dealing with disease. There was a PhD candidate in psychology who, with Dr. Stringer, was conducting research on the value of holding women. Hey, hey, turn that down. And y'all be quiet in the kitchen. Okay. With Dr. Stringer and conducting research on the value of individual counseling for newly diagnosed cancer patients. She held my hand for a difficult, very difficult 8 weeks. There was Dr. Stringer, who encourages hope, hired his patients, hugs his patients, and works tirelessly, creatively, and sensitively to help his patients. There was my sister who dropped everything 2,000 miles away to be at my side after surgery. There was the friend who organized a large group of my friends to pray for my recovery and lay hands on me at a weekly healing service. Tom and I have drawn spiritual and physical strength from that service every week for almost 3 years. There was the female Episcopal priest with whom I felt an instant rapport and whose generosity of spirit and faith lit Tom's and my lives, as well as those of the friends and family supporting us. There was my mentor, a 9 year survivor of ovarian cancer, and another member of our support group who guided me through the quagmire of that first year after diagnosis. Her wisdom was about protecting oneself from well meaning intrusion, and her candor about her journey and feelings have continued to help me navigate my path. There is my ovarian cancer support group, which is full of courageous women sharing and giving and holding each other close. There is my friend from college who seems to know intuitively that right thing to do and has made it clear by her words and deeds that she is there for me every step of the way. They are innumerable friends who have driven me to chemo and brought countless meals. There are friends who distract me almost daily with trips and movies, lunches, and dinners. Our two boys have been more attentive than usual, yet, as I requested, continue to lead their own lives. I know we all appreciate our holidays and vacations together more than ever. And there is Tom, my soulmate of nearly 35 years, who has been my anchor, my love, my chef, my chauffeur, my confidant, and my unfailing support through the dark days and the bright ones. He is unselfish and generous and optimistic. On chemo days, he brings me a big bunch of roses he handpicks himself in the florist cooler. Uh, when I when I have no hair, he tells me how beautifully shaped my head is. Or when I look in the mirror and see an older woman with gray hair and new wrinkles. He swears that I've never looked more beautiful. Ah, La La Land. It's a wonderful place. And this is by Jan Mercer. And Jan is still living. All right, and we'll stop right there then. Yep. So, you have anything to say or about the stories? Any questions? I hope I didn't put y'all to sleep. Yeah, I think she has the longest story that I have read. Okay, let's see. Any questions? Anything to say about the stories? Yeah, I think she, I think she had the longest story. I think she had like 4 pages. But I could tell all the stuff she's talking about. Mm. All right, Perkett, you have a good one. But yeah, I'm not gonna be on here too long. I'm just gonna see anybody have any questions, and then I'm just gonna. I read those, and that was all I really came on for, is to read my stories, because I knew some of my people would show up, or even if it's just one. But had quite a bit, quite a few people came. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate it. So if no one have any questions, I ain't gonna hold y'all. Like I said, I just came on to do the stories, and if anybody wanted to network, uh, the few people that was in here. All right. Well, I will let y'all go, and I will see y'all tomorrow for our next reading. And I enjoyed it. Appreciate y'all coming. Okay, let me see. Hope everybody not asleep. If they are, they'll know, because they'll see me gone. Well, okay, y'all. I appreciate y'all coming. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm out of here.